But all that being said, what we're talking about today is appreciating what you are. I think this is a really, really important conversation to have, appreciating what you are. What does that?
I love it. I love it because, well, there's the word appreciating, which I just love because it's all around gratitude. And it just feels like love, no matter what's happened to you or not happened to you. But I love the part of what you are.
Yeah.
And putting the two together, because what you are, not who you are, it's what you are.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Hello, hello, hello. Here we are with a deliciously motivating mindset conversation again with me, with with Debz and Moira. I am Moira and this is Debz. Hi, Debz.
Hi. And I am Debz. Woohoo!
Here we are with another awesome conversation. Well, we're setting it up as an awesome conversation. Just putting it out there. It's going to be an awesome conversation. Better be.
Set that intention.
Yeah. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having it. Anyways, before we get into talking about our chosen topic for this day, we like to check in with ourselves, and we encourage our listeners to do this too. This check-in is kind of an assessment. We assess ourselves on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is when you're feeling completely calm, neutral, blissed out, zen. And 10 is where you're feeling like, oh my God, I don't know how to do this or what to do, or I'm just feeling really stuck and sitting in the corner wondering how on earth to get through. And we throughout our day, we change. We can go up and down. Something can set us off. Something can trigger us. But it's this tool of assessing creates awareness. And we can't shift and change anything until we first of all have awareness. So that's what we're doing with this checking in. So having said all that, on the scale of 0 to 10, my dear, where would you put yourself?
3.
3.
I would say 3. I just did a couple of yawns. Morning. I'm going to say 3. I just feel like a 3.
Okay.
Like a 3. Because I even asked myself, I said, are you sure you're a 3? Or are you a 2? And I went, 3. Okay.
That was pretty decisive. That was it.
Yep. Done.
So I'm going to put myself at a 2. See, maybe that's what that dialogue was you energy of 2 was here. So I'm putting myself at 2. I'm looking forward to our conversation, but I've got a little bit of a cough and a little scratchy throat stuff. So it's like, there's something here. Let's go in and figure this out.
Something going on.
Yes.
Wow.
So dear listeners, and if you're driving, don't do this, but if you're sitting listening to us, we encourage you to note down that number, just because at the end of our conversation, we're going to check back in again and see, did it move? Did you come closer to that pieced out 0, or did we push your buttons and bring you up to closer to 10?
And take you to the double figures and beyond 10.
Yeah, hopefully not that. But all that being said, what we're talking about today is appreciating what you are. I think this is a really, really important conversation to have, appreciating what you are. What does that?
I love it. I love it because, well, there's the word appreciating, which I just love because it's all around gratitude. And it just feels like love, no matter what's happened to you or not happened to you. But I love the part of what you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And putting the two together, because what you are, not who you are, it's what you are. It's not who you are, it's what. And I love the what, because it's more about taking ownership.
Yeah.
It's what you are.
It's what you are.
Yes, I'm a friendly person. Yes, I'm a grumpy bugger. Yes, I'm, it's any of those things. It's actually appreciating what you are.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about what you are being a human being here. Yeah. I'm talking about what you are is your, I'm going to say those characteristic traits.
Yeah, I was going to say energy signature, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I like that. and just having the appreciating at the start of it is just a beautiful, let's say, a segue into it.
Yeah. I also love that word appreciate, because to me, appreciate is the gratitude, the feeling thankful and liking things, accepting things. But the word appreciate also means to expand, to increase, right? You say that the markets appreciate, or your funds are appreciating.
Oh, yeah, instead of depreciate.
Yes, we'll do the appreciation. So what's that saying that says what you appreciate appreciates. Meaning,
I've never heard that.
What you appreciate grows bigger. It expands. Yeah. It becomes more encompassing. So I think
that's anything you think about becomes bigger. So.
That's right.
So it helps to appreciate what you're thinking about. I'm not talking about your bum unless you want your bum to get bigger, but
and some people might.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I love the appreciating what you are, and and it is about just owning who you are and being, and it's not. And I say being okay with who you are, but it's actually another level of being okay. Yes. Like being okay is, I'm going to say neutral. It's centered, but it's actually when you say appreciating, it's actually another level up. And
I agree. Because when you're okay, that's maybe like the foundational level, but then appreciating it means it's like you're patting yourself on the back. You're saying yes to this.
There's a different level of fulfillment, isn't it?
Yes.
With the word appreciating, instead of going, accepting who you are. This is who I am. Okay. But there's a little, and you can hear the skip in my step. There's a little bit of a okay, I might be this and I might be that, a little bit of, I'm not going to say egotistical, but a little bit of a emotional spin. But appreciating it just feels different.
There's a confidence in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's that love blanket again, appreciating what you are.
Yeah.
And so what is what you are?
Well, what you are, you see, and to your point, you were saying, what you are, you could have a good sense of humor, caregiver, insightful, happy, joy-filled.
Fulfilled,
Yeah, but you see, what you are, there are things, and this is why I said at the beginning, as I think this is such an important conversation to have, is that what you are is an imperfect being. We all have flaws. What you are might be a person who
is a 10,
procrastinates, or is a 10, procrastinates, puts things off, has a habit of running away from confrontation or from challenges, or right. So these are all components and ingredients that go into what you are, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing about appreciating what you are is and I've said this to people before, I tend to be a bit of a workaholic. So what I am is a driven A-type personality who is always on the go and I got to do this and I got to do this, take care of this. That is part of what I am.
Yeah.
Now, I also know a lot of my clients are that way too, and they do not appreciate, nor do they even accept that that's okay, let alone appreciating it, right?
When you said workaholic, I'm going to say it's a funny one, because it's the same with me. So I wouldn't label myself a workaholic. Actually, I would. certain people would say you're a workaholic, and I go, oh well, I would just think I'm inspired about my life.
Yes.
And it's those things that and I guess the thing is, when people say, oh, you're a workaholic, that you don't react. You take that ownership.
Yeah, you can say thanks. That's exactly. Thanks. Yes. I get shit done.
And that's it. That's appreciating what you are.
Yeah.
Someone goes, oh, you're a workaholic. Oh, I love my world. And when and that's a level of appreciating. But it's quite funny because not funny, because you then go, God, you think I'm a workaholic? God, you must have a really uninspiring life that you just hate going to work every day. And my mind flips to the absolute extreme of the opposite. If someone says to me, you're a workaholic, oh, you're working all the time. It's like, well, what else am I going to do? Like, I love doing this.
This is my life's work. Absolutely. This is my life's work. And that's exactly the point, is it is not work.
Yeah.
Right. It's your passion. It's your purpose. It's what's lights you up. It's the thing that gives you meaning. That's the truth for me too. But I was just pulling that as an example because there's other pieces, Oh,
definitely.
I was speaking to a client earlier this week, and he says oftentimes he's got OCD. He's OCD this, OCD this, OCD this, obsessive compulsive disorder. And it's because of this that happened. And it's because of this that this person doesn't like talking to me. And there's such a level of, number one, not appreciating who he is, what he is. And it's so funny because in this conversation, he was saying that he wasn't able to make a decision in his business. And some of his partners and colleagues were telling him off because he wasn't doing it. And I said, have you stopped and looked at the levels of success that you have actually achieved so far? He's highly successful in investment and in real estate. And it's like, so what? So what that there's this OCD component? Yeah. But no, his thing was he has people pointing it out to him. And so he does it for himself. So then blinkers go on, and he does not appreciate what he is. Because to me, looking at him from my perspective, I see a person who maybe he does have a few foibles that talk him out. Yeah, quirks. Quirks are a better word. That talk him out of doing something or make him lock up and say, no, I'm not making the decision just yet. So what? Appreciating what you are says, I have the propensity to put off a decision or to defer to something, or I have what's the word when you want lucky charms?
No idea.
I can't think of the word right now. It's when you're scared of doing something because there's bad omens around, and so that's part of where he.
Oh, shit. Whoops, sorry, not sorry. Whereas, like, why did I ask her? Why did I ask her?
There is a word to it. I can't think of it. But I don't know why I can't think of it. Obviously,
Moira's desperate to find that word now to replace Deborah's word for it.
But it's where you say, oh, I can't do it. I can't do this because the moon's waxing in the sign of Aries, and so therefore there's the energy's off. And I mean, if people do that, that's great. But at the same time, I just
rolled my eyes. Okay, I'm just going to let you know I rolled my eyes. Well, there's a level of procrastination and a bloody good excuse.
The thing is that if that's the case for a person of, I just had this sign, or, maybe you see numbers happening in a sequence and that means something to you.
Yeah.
Then that's okay. If that's what it means something to you and you appreciate what I am as a person that likes to check what's happening around me before I make a business decision or a personal decision, that's okay. You appreciate that that's what you do, and you just set up the dialogue around you in that way, right?
I think this is a great one. So I do DISC assessments, and you do human design.
I do human design, yeah.
And they are both powerful in finding out what you are.
Yes. Yeah.
And when, like, I did a unpacking of a disc assessment the other day to someone, and I said, oh, this is what you do. And they went, oh, that's a bit harsh. And I said, yeah, you can look at it as harsh, but if you look at it like this, and I sort of unpacked a little bit further, and they're like, oh, you've just softened that whole thing of you telling me that I'm this type of, may become emotional when receiving feedback, which anyone could see as a quotation marks bad thing.
Right.
Yeah, may become emotional. But I said, but is this not, when this happens to you, does this show that you're really inspired about what this is, and it's your baby? And so now, it's actually basically saying, oh my God, if I become emotional about this is something that's really important to me. So let's alert yourself to, oh, I'm more emotional about this. So what does this mean? Let's unpack this bigger picture around it.
Right.
And he said, oh, you've just turned that whole thing around. And I said, well, this is exactly it, appreciating what you are.
Exactly.
So I said, when you get that emotion, stop and go, oh, how important is this to me? What is this? What's the bigger picture going on here?
Yeah,
Instead of just going, yeah, whatever, because there's something underlying that. And the more you recognize those things, the more you're going to go, oh, this is what I'm really good at. This is what I'm really good at.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so important.
I know.
Because to your point, and I noticed this too with human design, sometimes people need to have it run through your filter or through my filter, and having them see what it is they are, because they're so stuck in this inner critic, this, oh, this is terrible, or this is awful, I've got this peccadillo or this propensity to do this. It's like, so what? Own it.
You'll see,
and you said responsibility. What you are, it's about responsibility.
So even OCD, now this is one that just hits a raw nerve. And like, I was on this Facebook page, and someone said about Christmas decorations and Christmas tree lights and everything. And someone said, oh, if only somebody had a business that'd come and decorate your tree. And I thought, well, I'd pay for that. For a start, I instantly went, I'd pay for someone to come and decorate my tree. But okay, not like recently we had someone come over and they said, that tree's been green with nothing on it for a week. And I was like, yeah, the tree's up. That's as far as, and they went, can we decorate? And I'm like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, sure.
Like, are you sure you don't want it? And I'm like, no, I'm more than happy to sit back and watch you decorate my tree. Thank you very much. Because they weren't having a tree this year. So I was like, yep, go for it. But on this page, the person said, I have OCD. And so they said, so I know I'd be great at doing your tree. It may take longer. And somebody jumped in and said, do not joke about OCD. This is a very serious thing. We get, and I actually went, oh my God, is this person serious? And then went, this is somebody who gets emotional about what's important to them. Like clearly it's had a trigger. Now I say OCD and I don't think that it's going to offend anybody.
Yeah, no.
But I read it and I had to read it and I had to ask a couple of people. I screenshot and said, what does this do to you? Because it threw me right out. Human behavior, Deborah, dig. But I believe we all have a level of OCD in us. Now, we're not clearly talking about OCD. We all have a level of, and what's important to you. So like my emails have to be filtered in a certain way where I'm organized and ordered, as I would say. But other areas like the garage is a little bit chaotic, like tools for the shed.
Right.
Like,
so it's like
no
attention there.
I don't know. I've got a particular screwdriver somewhere in the house. It could be in the 10 areas. Right. Because that's not where I'm organized and ordered, because it's low on my priorities. But it was interesting how the OCD can trigger people, these words. And so appreciating what you are is, maybe I'll just send this woman the link to this podcast. This will be a great one for you, because she was so triggered by somebody saying, I'm OCD, so it may take me longer to do your Christmas tree. And I laughed at that and I went, oh my God, you would, because you put this here and then go, I want to change that in this color, Like that's, but I just laughed at that and went, well, look, she knows it. She's owning it. And so this woman came on the attack. But then what was interesting is the other woman actually said, I have been clinically diagnosed.
Wow. That's the best bazinga right there.
It was like, Mike, I've got my goosies, mic drop, boom. I have been clinically diagnosed.
Wow.
Is that? And I
Wow.
was like, interesting. And so this is one woman who said, I have OCD, it's going to take me longer to do Christmas tree.
So she's
Like,
just owning it.
She's
appreciating what she is.
Totally.
Yep.
And then the other woman went, don't joke about this. Well, actually, she didn't say it in that tone because it's clearly a message on Facebook, but I read it. Don't you, da, da, da.
Yeah.
And I was like, love, if you have OCD, just own it. And so this is just a prime example of appreciating what you are. And so it triggered somebody because she hasn't appreciated her OCD.
So it makes me wonder, where's her OCD? The one that got triggered.
Yeah. Well, she's pissy or something.
And absolutely. But to your point too, I think we all have our areas. Like I know that there's areas for me that it's like I'll keep going back and think about how many times you might have a worrisome thought. Oh my God, what about this? What about this? What about this? That's a compulsion. It's an obsession. It's maybe not the full blown. I worked with a client.
It's still a level of it.
Yes.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
I worked with many different levels of this over the years. I remember one, and she totally owned it also. She says, Moira, this, she would come to my office and she says, Moira, in order to come here, I have to go around my house 7 times and check all the knobs and check just to make sure everything's switched off.
So that's higher than a 50%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
she was totally aware of it and not trying to stuff it down or say there's anything wrong. It's just like, this is the compulsion. She actually ended up becoming a really, really good speaker because she could own these pieces and make everybody laugh about those little circuits and you got to do click something X amount of times just to feel okay.
You just tell her to come on stage 10 minutes earlier than she did by the time she got on stage. She's going to be late. She's just checking the doors.
Yeah, she did.
I laugh and joke about that. Yeah, but that's exactly it. And so the one woman totally appreciated what she is.
I love that.
And that's it. It's actually just acknowledging and just going, yeah, this is who I am. And we all have it above 50%, below 50%. And it's just, but that's everything. There's every characteristic trait we have within us. And we pull out the mean and nasty and the whatever, fight or flight, when you're backed into a corner and you're like, someone's challenging you, you pull out whatever you can pull out.
Of course.
And then other times, if you're nice and kind and generous to me, I'm not going to pull out my a-hole characteristic traits. I'm going to be nice and nurturing back to you. But if you go, you're rubbish at that, boom. But I did like the way the woman reacted. When she reacted and she was triggered, I liked the way the woman came back and said, I actually have been clinically diagnosed. Like, she didn't even react. She was just very neutral. She just came back and said, I have been clinically diagnosed with this. I've had this for, it was over 10 years. It was like 18 years, something. I have had this for, it was just like, okay, you don't have to drop another microphone, love. Like,
what that also shows from her part is that she has become such the professional at managing it, knowing herself, appreciating what she's good at and what she's not. And that just to me is such I know we're talking about OCD, but
I know
I would love that to apply to everything.
Well, imagine it.
To everything, right? That within us, because I think about people who can't appreciate that their hair is not right, or they they're carrying 30 extra pounds, or right, fill in the blank. How many times do you hear people saying, oh, I don't like this about me, or I can't accept this about me, or this, right? that's what I'm saying, is that in this, what we're talking about here is like, just know it, just appreciate what you are, all of it.
That's exactly it. And so when you appreciate it, you're not reacted, you're not run by their story, you're not run by their emotions. I remember Mum saying to me many years, "Oh, Deborah, you've put on weight." And I was like, I know. That's
Thanks
it.
for noticing.
I know. I know. Yeah. But I said it was like, yeah, I know. And that was it. Like, good. Whether Mum was shooting the bow and arrow at me or not, I don't know. But it was just like, oh, Deborah, you're putting on weight. I know. Bang, done. End of conversation. Then there's an awkward silence. It's like, Mum, what's your turn? What are you going to say now? Because I know. Yeah, I know. And I love that. I still remember the day she said it to me, and I was in the living room, and it was an awkward silence. It was like, okay, we'll just move on. Like, there's nothing you can say back. Like, you can't. What was I going to say? Yeah, I know, and it's disgusting. I'm going to beat myself up because I knew I had. Like, And I think that's the thing, is I just appreciated what I was. I just took it and went, yeah, I know. And I think my mum was way more awkward than me. I was like, yeah, I know. But it was like, not like I know I'm doing something about it, or I know I feel really bad, or I know, it was like I clearly had. I know.
Yeah. So it's an interesting point, and I don't know what would have maybe been going on with your mum to do that. Maybe it was concern. But when people point things out like that to us,
well, we all know, don't we?
And
we'll just put the mirror up there and the reflection will go right back at you.
Exactly. It's like, okay, thanks, but what's going on with you?
Yeah. Actually, that's quite funny, because Mum said to me, I said, oh, my ring's really tight. I said, I probably need to get it resized. And she said, oh, you could lose weight. She just said to me the other week. Actually, I think my mum's got figure issues. We'll just throw that out there, Mum, if you're listening to that. She said, oh, you could just lose weight. I was like,
yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. By the way, the ring hasn't been resized, and it's just sitting in its box. Just leave it there then. Fine. Lose weight, don't lose weight. I find a simple solution. Just resize it.
Sometimes I have to use some moisturizer to get my rings on and off, but that's just the way it goes.
Well, I had one stuck on me for 4 years. I couldn't get it off. I was like, oh yeah, until I went somewhere and the lady said, oh, do you want that ring clean? I said, well, if you can get it off. My finger went blue as she pulled it off, literally.
Eek.
I was like, But rings are also depending on the weather, what you've eaten, your fluids. Absolutely. And everything. So it's not whether
in hot weather, my hands swell up terribly. And I know that there's been a couple of times where it's just like, this ring's not coming off. It's really hot. It's all right.
But I think when people fire that bow and arrow, or they just say it in a general conversation, it's how you react.
Yes. Yeah. And I love what you said. It is how you react.
And that's where you know if it's really important to you and if it's an issue to work on mentally. Not just going to say, because you've reacted in that emotional level of being a 10 or a 0. So I was clearly a 1. Like,
obviously,
when Mum said that, I was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah. But it also, and to your point, it is saying that you were appreciating what you are.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But if what I was feeling into was if a person has the propensity to judge themselves based upon what other people think or say about them, and then somebody comes along and says you're putting on weight, then immediately it's going to be, oh yeah, I know, I suck, this is terrible, I'm so upset, and I can't get into my favorite dress anymore.
And you beat yourself up.
And that, I've said this so many times before, I believe that if we sat in that type of mindset, we can't really excess weight. If we wanted to or not, we can't, because we're punishing ourselves now. We're saying something wrong with me. If I choose to release weight, it's because I love myself and I'm appreciating what I am at every step of the way.
I know don't think you've evolved 100%, because there's always more work to do, people. There will be times you'll be an 8
going to be
2.
done. We're not going to be done while we're still in this life and still speaking and having these conversations.
And you better learn it here, because guess what? You'll come back and learn it all over again if you didn't learn it properly.
Yep.
But I love that it's actually just, and it is all around your emotions and how you react. So maybe I encourage people, when you do get challenged with something, is look at your emotions and go, wow, I was a 3 before they spoke. Now I'm at 8. This is clearly something that I'm going to look at. But if you're a 3 before and they said that, and you're a 4 now, it's not as high a priority to work on.
Precisely.
But if you go from a 3 to an 8 on the scale where we rate ourselves at the start, there's something to deal with. And so that's your little warning, like, oh, here's a little red flag here. Or this is a pink flag, not a full-on red flag yet. This has got a little bit of a light pink. Yeah.
But then that's the perfect time to go and have a conversation with somebody you really trust, or sit and journal it, or just sit and reflect.
Well, so even just journaling it just gets it out, like with a pen and paper, pen and paper, and actually write it down, because I find when you use a pen and paper, your neuro pathways are very different to typing it into your phone or notes. But you're getting it out of your head. Coming
from your heart, like you're really getting into all your emotional intelligence when you're writing it. Yeah.
I talked to a gentleman recently, and he said, I've got so much in my head. I just, I'm not getting stuff done. And I said, look, get everything out of your head. Just write it down. All the things you've got to do, all the things people have told you to do, all the things write down, from I've got to wash my clothes before whatever. Just like, I've got to do. He had 17 A4 lined pages.
OMG.
17, 17, if you didn't get my accent, 17 lined, not just loose, like lined A4 pages of things he felt he had to do.
And,
they were positive
and for
things.
people in North America, that's bigger than letter size paper.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And so he texts me, he said, I'm on page 17. I've just finished page 17. Shall I continue? I was like, if you feel the urge to continue. Can you screenshot them and send them to me so I can have a look? And they were just, even little things like put the ironing board away. There was definitely stuff like, so he'd got him. And so then I said, how are you feeling about this? And by the way, I don't actually say how you're feeling. What does that make you feel? I'm not one of those people. But I said, how you feel about this? He said, well, no, he wrote, no effing wonder I wasn't getting anything done. And I was
all these checklists.
17 A4 pages.
That's
no wonder
amazing.
you're not getting anything done.
Mm-hmm.
You're literally looking around the house where he's working from home during stuff going on now, to what has to be done around the house, but also work, to who he's got to delegate things to, like 17 A4 pages. No wonder you're actually just going into, you can call it overwhelm. You can just call it 10.
Yeah. 10. Yeah, totally. 10. And that certainly is not appreciating what you are at the core.
No.
I think the other piece about this idea of appreciating what you are is the core essence of you. It's not necessarily all of the things that you think about yourself, right? Because sometimes our minds make stuff up that's not the truth.
Yeah, well, our mind, so our soul knows the answers to everything, but our mind goes, yes, no, maybe.
That's right.
Oh, you're going to say yes? Your soul is saying yes. Well, guess what? I'm going to convince you no.
Yeah, I'm going to talk you out, or I'm going to make you feel insecure, or I'm going to tell you.
Or I'm going to let you listen to what that person said about you. And I'm going to attach it and build it up further and further and further. And you will be a 10 by the end of the day.
Absolutely. And so that's the thing. And I've said this before in our conversations, from a human design perspective, we often talk about the fact that not one of us are wired to make decisions from our mind.
Yeah.
Our mind is there to take care of things like remember to write that on the grocery list, or
write 17 pages.
Write 17 pages of all the things that your mind said to you to do.
Yeah.
But all of us have our own recipe of making decisions and choosing things. But there are things like your heart, based on what's your heart saying, based on what's your intuition saying, based on what's your gut instinct. What's your reaction? Sometimes people can do it internally, and other times people need to have a sounding board. Yeah. And so it's really important to actually just appreciating what you are. Sometimes maybe somebody can say, oh, I can't make up my mind until I speak it out. Well, that's great. That's appreciate that. That's how you're wired. Because this is the other part of it too. Appreciating what you are means you are you. You are uniquely you. Each one of us is uniquely us. There is no one that does and says and thinks and acts the same way.
The same. Yeah.
And we are all different flavors. I think that's the key piece. I love to think of it as, am I showing up fully as my flavor of me?
Yeah.
And then you just give everybody else permission to do the same. That's what I expect from clients and people I interact with. And that's what I'm doing. I'm showing up as I am, in fully standing in the flavor of who I am.
Yeah, well, you're totally appreciating what you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and as are you.
Yeah, and I think, it was interesting when you were just talking about that, because I think about that and how much, and I don't know if it's an age thing, it's actually, this is who I am. Mm-hmm. But I mean, even if you're 20 and you're like, who are you? Know that when you were 20, you're not the same person.
Absolutely.
I work with a woman who a woman who is a mum, and she's like, oh, I don't know my life. I feel like I'm not making a purpose and everything. I'm like, you've got 2 children. There's your purpose. There's your legacy. She's like, yeah, but I used to be a CEO. I used to have run this large organization. I'm like, yeah, your organization is those 2-year-old and 3-year-old who are now drawing on your windows, who are doing this. Like, start managing your children.
Yeah.
Well, differently too. You are the CEO.
Not the same way.
Yeah. But you're the CEO of those children. They're your legacy. That company that you sold for whatever is no longer your legacy.
Right.
Like, and when you just look at the difference of that, so you're still the CEO or chief executive officer. What do you call your people over there? Is that what you call them?
CEO.
Chief executive. Yeah. Yeah.
Chief
you're
executive
still
officer.
Yeah, you're still that. It's just gone to a different level. You now have a 2 under 5-year-olds. So you are the human resource. you're the cafe lady.
I love that you put that in there, though, because the thing is when you appreciate what you are, you appreciate. And in this an example, she's a leader. So when she gets into appreciating what she is, she's a leader.
Yeah.
But getting stuck in saying, oh, but I'm the CEO of this massive company. I used to be that. That's saying a label. That's a label. It's like, no, what you are is still this identity of being a leader.
Yeah.
And to your point, it applies to everything.
Absolutely. Well, as soon as when she saw that, she just went, oh, I am. I said, yeah, but your return on investment's a little bit low right now. They're not being as productive financially.
Right. So, but we don't always want to say it has to be financial.
I know.
Right?
Yeah. And that's totally now appreciating what you are.
Absolutely it is.
It's like, oh, I am.
Yes.
And when you, I just find when you own that, you can just sit there and go, oh, okay.
Yep.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
I would have thought I'd look at it like this. Well, we think about it because that's what we do.
That's what we do. Absolutely.
So let's sum this up. Appreciating what you are, Moira. What would be your final exiting words on this?
That it's like what you feel light you up from your heart. And I'm going to do this. Put your hand over your heart.
Oh, yeah.
Take a deep breath. This is one of the best ways to actually step into what are you? What are you? I'm a divine being who has something to say. I don't always know exactly what it is, but I show up and I do things and I appreciate all of the experiences and all the interactions and conversations that I am fortunate enough to have. And that is something that I really, really encourage everyone to do. I do this every single day. I'll multiple times throughout my day is just to pause for a moment and check in, stay present. that's not one of the best ways to appreciate what you are, is stay present to what's going on, what you're looking at, what's coming in. Sometimes what's coming in is a reflection of what your energy is. And that can sometimes be oh, look, I need to sit and ponder on this and contemplate or journal or something, but love it all. Loving acceptance for all of it. How about you?
Yeah, well, we'll use the numbers from 0 to 10. Use that because definitely. You'll see where you run and what it's about. But appreciating what you are is just be.
Yeah.
Sit in the present. Just be. Gratitude. That's where I sit. I don't sit there all the time. I do have to say that. I'm not going to say I'm sit there in gratitude all the time, because that would be unrealistic and it would be not truthful.
Not telling the truth. No. And that's the thing. Aside that, we said that at the beginning, we visit all of those numbers, 0 to 10. We all do. And anybody that says, no, I'm never at a 10, no. Sorry.
So gratitude to what you are. That's it. Appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely.
So in saying that, what number are you now?
I'm a 0 now. I am a 0. This feels really good. How about you?
Yeah, I was thinking I was a 1 when we were wrapping this up, but I'm totally a 0, because I can say that I definitely am appreciating what I am, and I can feel that in my core.
I still had a little bit left, but then of course I put my hand on my heart.
I know.
There we go.
That's actually what shifted me too.
Right.
Was the hand on the heart.
Hand on the heart.
I tell people that all the time. Thanks to Moira. So thank you, everybody. Let us know what numbers you were to where you are now. You can put that in a private message, or you can put that publicly. We trust that you did move away from the 10, close to the 0. If there was any triggers in there, if you've got OCD and
want to bonk us on the head for our conversation,
or you're a workaholic, or any of things that you felt didn't hit the mark for you, let us know.
Yes, please do.
Because that is what we're here for. But I would love to appreciate everybody here being on this call, and for joining us on our Deliciously Motivated Mindset podcast.
Awesome. This has been awesome. And we do deeply appreciate all of our dear listeners.
Thank you. Thanks, Moira. Thanks, peeps.
Thanks, Debz. Thank you, people. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.